Welcome to this special training. Today you're going to discover the 3-step method where you'll learn how, with just a few simple steps, you can learn to turn on your body's natural fertility switch, which will then boost your chances of having a happy and healthy full-term pregnancy so you can create the family you've always dreamed of. It works alone as a standalone method or as an adjunct to IVF if that's your choice. My name is Karen Botha, and I am super excited to share all of this with you today. Now, I have no doubt that you're busy, so if it's okay with you, let's dive right in. Before we start, you might want to make sure that your sound is turned on and have a notebook and pen handy. What I'm about to share with you will change the way you think about solving fertility issues, so you're going to want to jot down a few notes as we go through this. Now, was there a time when you had sex for fun? When you thought about something other than whether that twitch means more? And when life was for the moment rather than waiting for your next result? This is for you if perhaps you've been told that your only hope is IVF, or you have got pregnant but it ended with a miscarriage, or you want to get ahead of the fertility curve to avoid future complications, which makes sense, or you are pretty much at your wit's end and don't know where else to turn. And I know this is scary, but stick with me and you'll see there is a way out of this, because I help hopeless cases, because nothing is hopeless to me. So stick with me and keep watching. Now, you might be wondering why I am showing you a picture of a combination lock. In a few moments, I'll show you what this has to do with your fertility battles. But first, do you ever think to yourself, I'm going slowly mad noticing every tiny change in my body. I feel things that gets my hopes up, and then it turns out it's just not real. Or that I spend all day holding it together and no one knows. Or I feel like a failure and I get sad when I think about it. I just want to know that I'm pregnant so badly. I've spent my whole life being a perfectionist and I can control my life and my job. But being a mother is so unpredictable and I can't convince myself that I can do my life without it. Or I just feel so out of touch with myself and with my body. And I don't understand why it's doing what it's doing, or actually what it's not doing really. So my promise to you is that today you will discover the 3-step system that has already helped hundreds of my patients turn their body's natural fertility switch on as soon as your next cycle. And this is all without you becoming a robot who loses your identity, and without you becoming something that's just purely a vessel for fertility. Many of my ladies were able to do this naturally without even having to go down the assisted conception route. By putting this into action, you will be able to say bye-bye to crippling pain, infertility, and exhaustion. Now, actually, when I say that, the crippling pain doesn't have to be physical. The exhaustion doesn't have to be physical, because I know just as much as you know that this pain is emotional, just as much, if not more, as the physical stuff. And what we're going to see is how all of that manifests in your body. But what we then are going to be able to say is hello to creating happy families. All the debilitating symptoms that commonly come with the root cause of your infertility, which is sucking the life out of you, we're going to say goodbye to them. You can stop being in pain, get your energy back, and you can look forward to planning your future as a mom, knowing that your infertility will never hold you back. I just want to say quickly, I have nothing to sell you other than the idea that switching back on your natural fertility switch is possible. If by the end of this masterclass you want to take the next step to getting ahead of your fertility struggles once and for all, there will be an opportunity for you to connect with me and my team. You will get to celebrate the joy of getting pregnant when finally the monthly heartache of testing and retracking will finally be over. You can get back to looking forward. Or perhaps that's actually too soon of a goal and you won't settle, which is completely normal, until you're squabbling with your partner whilst building that crib. Instead of fantasizing all the time at this point about whether you could perhaps be feeling a cramp associated with pregnancy, you'll have moved on to feeling the sharp kick in your ribs from a tiny foot. And now your fantasy will be about the colour scheme of the nursery or the cute clothes that they're going to grow out of way too fast. With this, you really do have the chance to cherish your own family. Because what I'm going to show you isn't a one-time thing. This will work for as long as you implement it, which means if you want to go ahead and have a whole football team, the same things that I'm teaching you will apply. We've got everything, the good jobs, the family house, even the SUV. It's just missing the small person it's all for. Every day is heartache. Heartache. My friends and family don't understand because they say I look okay. Tracking hormones, temperatures, phases, and chatting in social media groups has become a new hobby and something that we all think is natural and should be easy to do. Not only is that a frustration, but also kind of a hurt with your own body. And if you're feeling this, I completely understand what you're feeling. And I want you to know that it doesn't have to be this way. So you don't have to look at other pregnant women or women with young children, and you don't have to think, are you ever going to get to know what that feels like? This is not your fault. All those fears you're experiencing, all those symptoms that make you feel like crap, basically, they're all real. Your infertility issues are just one of those symptoms. We don't have to suffer with all of this and put up with things just because we're a woman. But I expect you've already got a hunch about that, and that's why you're here, hey? So the real problem is most people will tell you that infertility is a hormone problem. Hormones are overrated. And yes, hormones are affected, but that's not the real problem. So if it's not a hormone problem, then what is it? Is it an immune system problem? And yes, it's true that many of our problems with infertility do boil down to some level of dysfunction with our immune system. But that's not the real problem. So let me explain. Here's why I say that. All the tracking that we're doing, it takes a tremendous toll, as does life, just general life every day. It takes a huge toll on our bodies. And the worst part is that all of this hormone focus misses the underlying issues that cause these imbalances. So whilst hormones are obviously important, without addressing why your hormones are out of whack, we don't actually fix things. So our body is made up of trillions of cells, and those cells have one thing in common: they require energy to function properly. Then they're healthy and a fully charged cell, just like a cell phone. And our body only has so much bandwidth. So when our cells can't get enough energy from the outside or generate it on their own, then they go into low battery mode. And it's a lot like your phone or your laptop. In order to save energy and continue to do the critical functions, low battery mode turns off some of its critical functions. Now, getting pregnant and having a baby isn't critical for life. So it's the same things with your cells in your body. When they are in energy DAT, their version of low energy mode, they can no longer do everything they should. Now, one of the essential functions of every cell is that it's supposed to reproduce itself before it dies off. You may remember the term mitosis from high school science class. So when a healthy cell reproduces with 100% battery, what do you get? You get new healthy cells. But when you get a cell that already has a low battery, and that then starts to reproduce itself, you then end up with a low grade, unhealthy cells that can't function optimally. So this is where the immune system comes in. It's like the cleanup crew to remove everything that is harmful to you. It's on the lookout for anything that looks like garbage. Now, because the low-grade cells look like garbage, the immune system starts sweeping them up to get rid of them. So this is what is underlying pretty much most of the common infertility issues that we deal with today. This is the underlying root cause. Your immune system is not attacking healthy cells. It's simply doing its job and being the cleanup crew for the damaged or dysfunctional cell. And here's why I say that. Most medical approaches are temporary fixes. Hormone imbalances don't happen for no reason. Something kicks them out. They don't really understand why your infertility issues are happening. And if we don't bother to keep asking why, then we just end up trying to put band-aids on bullet wounds. And this has been covered in research. So many studies, like this one here from the National Research Centre. So you can see here that infertility is related to an energy problem inside the cell. And this is your fertility bandwidth. There is so much going on underneath the surface. And conventional medical community, they treat infertility as if it's a one-size-fits-all problem. And as a result, they completely miss everything that's going on under the surface. And even doctors who do recognise that the immune system is part of the puzzle, they're still missing the complexity of the problem that you can't see from above. Some of you may have hormones that are all within the normal range. Maybe your doctor is blaming the endometriosis prescription, but I've worked with enough women to know that whether it be endometriosis, PCOS, unexplained infertility, whatever it is, it doesn't mean that you can't get pregnant. Instead, this is just another symptom, and then we can use that so that we can know what is going on underneath the surface. So the good news here is that I have figured out a simple way to solve this problem, and I'll walk you through it with this training. The key to your success is a simple and remarkably effective, I must say, 3-step system, which gets your body working for you, but not against you. So here's a small taste of what I've done for some others, just like you. So this is Natalie. Actually, it's not Natalie. This is just a picture I've put in there because I like to protect my lady's privacy. But for argument's sake, we'll say this is Natalie, okay? Now, she says that she feels better than she did even before she started trying to get pregnant because the infertility wasn't the issue, that was a symptom. So Natalie went from a partying lifestyle and painful endo symptoms to finally conceiving and giving birth to a healthy baby girl. So you'll hear more about her later on. Now, you'll also see how my fertility bandwidth process helped Sonia, who went from struggling to conceive and having constant pelvic pain to giving birth to her baby boy in 2019, which seems like it shouldn't be that long ago. And I'll share a few other more inspiring stories with you along the way today. You will feel with this that you will actually reverse your causes of your infertility. You'll take control of your body and no longer feel like it's failing, and you'll no longer feel the need to isolate from your family and from your friends. With this, you'll claim back the intimacy with your partner, and you'll finally get closer to creating the happy family that you've always, quite rightly, dreamed of. And the best part is that you don't have to constantly try new remedies with a little or temporary result. This has been proven to work even when people come to me having tried everything else without lasting results. Remember what I said earlier about nothing being truly hopeless? It won't take years to turn your fertility around. You have the power to do something about it. And after all, that's why you're here, right? So even though you're suffering with difficulty conceiving, it hasn't been your fault. So, I just want to commend you quickly for being here, because you're already demonstrating that you're the type of person who's willing to take back control and do what's needed to finally see results. Imagine 6 months from now and you're already coming out of your first scan. Now, before we go further, you might be wondering who I am and why you should even listen to what I have to say. So let me quickly introduce myself. The only reason that I can share this with you is because I've been where you are. And I'm trusted by those who want results like that old photograph there. I've been helping people live better, healthier lives. 2011, I founded Essential Feeling with my husband, and we immediately started helping women with their fertility issues at that point. It's based in central London and Essex in the UK. And over the years, I've built my expertise and have multiple advanced certifications in functional medicine. But I also work with surgeons. I also work with the medical profession, because learning doesn't stop with qualifications. And whilst I'm going to be talking about traditional methods through here, you can't move forward from the traditional methods without truly understanding them. And so me and my husband, who you see here, the other part of Essential Feeling, we go into surgery to see firsthand what happens to the human body. And as a result of this groundbreaking approach, we are trusted by those who want results. So I have been invited to train surgeons at the Royal Society of Medicine on the root causes that we're talking about today. and I've been featured several times over the years on the BBC because the simplified way that I work is truly groundbreaking, not least because it gets results when the conventional methods have failed. So, even though I'm now a sought after expert in this area, I want you to know that things certainly weren't always this way. So, let me explain to you what I mean. I struggled with endometriosis and I spent my fertile years sick and in pain. I know what it's like to struggle and not to be able to find answers. Years ago, my health was in such serious trouble and I didn't know what was wrong with me. And none of the doctors that I saw could figure it out either. And I tried everything. And that included, some of the standard stuff, just generally avoiding the painful activities that we kind of alluded to earlier on. And then after going through all the different iterations, the only thing that I knew at that point was to follow the conventional healthcare path. So I saw my GP. He had no idea what was wrong with me. And after about, I don't know, fourth or fifth doctor, I saw a specialist who thought it might be cancer. So I signed my rights away and I had surgery. And that was the moment that it all fell apart for me because I was flat out of surgery and the nurse came in and they gave me an injection and it was a huge needle. And he went and jabbed it in my arm, which was not a great start anyway because it shouldn't have been in my arm. But this was enough to wake me up and wonder what on earth they were putting in my body. What were they putting in my body that needed such a huge needle? And so after getting home, I did some research on this medication and it turns out that it's the medication that's also used to treat cancer, but I didn't have cancer. I had endometriosis when they took me into surgery. That's what they found. But this medication made me infertile and I felt hopeless and I felt scared. But this sent me on a journey to find answers because I felt betrayed by my body and by the medical system. And so I started learning everything that I could about how the body works and how a person can heal from conditions that doctors say is impossible to heal from. I spent £100,000 in search of solutions because the answers simply did not exist. I was working with the best doctors in the world. Harley Street specialists were opening their doors to me. I now have advanced certifications in anatomy, in physiology, in Chinese medicine, in Western practices. And finally, after endless frustration, I finally discovered that hormones are overrated. So I was swimming against the current of conventional medicine at this point. I had to piecemeal my education together because there wasn't anything out there that provided what I wanted, what I needed. And then it became even more clear to me that the conventional system is simply not trained to help people reverse infertility conditions. Almost everything that we are told about infertility is wrong. And once I had that aha realization, I finally figured out a better way to solve it. And life is a whole lot better now, I can tell you. So it may be too late to stop me from going into early menopause with the drugs that they gave me, but I am no longer in pain and I live my life to the full. I wake up most days feeling healthy, happy, and ready to tackle my day. I've been able to go for over 10 years now without any symptoms or issues. And actually, the greatest thing out of this, and they say that everything happens for a reason, is that I found my passion and I now get to help other women struggling with this to heal and then to create the family that they desire. So you and I are similar because if I can do this, then so can you because I'm not a superhero. And so you don't have to be either. You just have to be committed. And the fact that you're here taking the first step towards your bigger future says a lot about your commitment already. And what greater motivation, to be fair, is there than to have your own family? I've helped hundreds of women over the years to switch their infertility switch back on. And in just a moment, I'll tell you how I made this possible. But imagine what life looks like when you no longer have to struggle with debilitating pain and monthly disappointment. Just do me a favour, close your eyes. You don't need to see these slides, just listen to my voice. And imagine yourself 6 months from now, walking out of your first scan. Imagine yourself 1 year from now, giving birth to your baby. You've finally done it. You're holding your baby in your arms. And even now, think about 3 years from now, with the nursery runs, kids' birthday parties, toys scattered all over your living room floor. Imagine how amazing it feels. Just keep your eyes closed and feel that joy. How amazing is that you've created your very own family and you never even have to think about fertility anymore? And imagine what it feels like to finally know that you are in control of your fertility switch, that you know you didn't give up. Instead, you persevered, and now you have what you want most in life because of that. And you have your family because you wanted it enough to find a way to make it happen. This is what has put you in control of your health and your body, and essentially in control of your future too. It's possible, and I'm going to show you how. All of this is possible when you understand and take action on the 3 discoveries I made years ago that I'm now sharing with you. My research in this area, plus years running my own practice and helping hundreds, actually if not thousands of patients, has led me to 3 important discoveries about fertility. These 3 discoveries will help you go from fighting your body to switching on your natural fertility. So here's discovery number 1. Fertility isn't just about hormones. You can see here that there are so many systems that are involved. In reality, infertility is a multi-system issue with multiple disciplines. I don't think I have ever, in all the time that I've been practicing, seen someone who just had the one factor involved in their fertility problems. Most doctors don't understand that most infertility is part of a larger complex web of interconnected systems that are at play. Even your bones and your musculoskeletal system are at play. And this matters because the conventional methods of treating hormones alone misses all of these other systems that are involved. And when you understand this, the rest seems a little bit easier. The cycle of inflammation steals energy from your fertility bandwidth. The body needs a lot of energy to make a baby. Fertility can't be controlled, but we can create an optimal environment that supports conception and pregnancy. An ideal environment has an abundance of energy available to it to allow for healthy implantation and fetal growth. Remember those half-baked cells that we saw at the beginning? And so when fertility challenges persist, we have to look at what is robbing energy from your fertility bucket so that we can optimize our fertility bandwidth. And this is chronic inflammation, culprit number 1. Now, here's the thing though, inflammation is helpful until it isn't. If you think of inflammation as the body's natural healing response, those janitors that we were looking at earlier on, when you're injured, your body boosts flow to the area and it's delivering essential nutrients that repair this damage so that the cells that we saw at the beginning that are having the battery recharged can actually be fully charged. This is how your body takes care of you, ensuring that you heal and you recover efficiently. However, chronic inflammation uses tons of energy because chronic means it's ongoing. So you are using energy to keep this healing process going when your body doesn't need it. So these sources of inflammation are persisting, these triggers to make your body think that it needs to clean up. They're persisting, and then your body goes into overdrive to heal, and it's draining those batteries because we're having to use energy on running those janitors. It's also a major root cause of much of the conception problems that we face in today's world. So let's break this down simply. Your body is overexerting itself. The key question then is, why is your body constantly inflamed? What is it struggling so hard to fight off? Natalie struggled with trying to get pregnant. We met her briefly earlier on when she came in to see me, and she'd already seen 3 different doctors at that point, and they were giving her pain meds. She spent 18 months trying to get pregnant. She endured the heartbreak of a miscarriage at 20 weeks. She'd already gone through 2 rounds of IVF, only to face the disappointment of poor egg qualities and low numbers. But once we got to the bottom of her problems and she figured out why her body wasn't supporting her fertility journey, she got pregnant and she didn't need even the pain meds anymore, let alone anything else. She shouldn't have really been on them anyway. They were addressing her symptoms and not her root cause. Cells are overwhelmed. This is discovery number 2. And you can start to see where we're going with this now, because these hidden infertility triggers drain your body's batteries, preventing you from switching back on your fertility switch because your cells are overwhelmed. You know how it is when you feel overwhelmed in yourself. You may be feeling like that right now, quite possibly. You're balancing work, love, and the hidden world of fertility. It can be incredibly challenging. So it's no wonder that you feel this way. But let's take a deeper look. This overwhelm isn't just an emotional state, it's rooted in something much more physical. On a cellular level, your cells are experiencing chronic inflammation. So, what's causing this cellular overwhelm and toxicity is discovery number two. And it's a big word these days, but it should be. We have been assaulted with synthetic chemicals and endocrine disruptors like never before seen in human history. The chronic and persistent onslaught is causing major problems internally. And our bodies don't know how to handle these substances. For instance, did you know that there have been over 140,000 chemicals? Some estimates say up to 350,000 that never existed before. And estimates say that in the US alone, there are about 1,500 new substances made each year. Now, we're not exposed to all of those, but we are exposed to a lot of them. And then when we start to layer on infections and stress, mold, food sensitivities, not enough light exposure, it all shuts down that internal charging stations for our cell use. And so our bodies are struggling to figure out how to handle it all. Elimination can lead to key deficiencies. And so this is what will happen very often. Women will see things on the internet and they'll think, okay, I can't eat this, I can't do that. You may well be correct in that, but when you're trying to tackle toxic overload, and I've seen this so many times, you're eliminating various things and you're experimenting with diets in particular. And so while that can help in the short term, what it often does is lead to long-term deficiencies, and they can make conception even harder. So you really need to know the intricacies. The devil's in the detail, really. So to truly prepare your body to handle toxicity, we need a balanced approach to both addition and elimination. And one powerful method that I recommend for my fertility clients is activating the lymph system. This holistic strategy supports your body's natural detoxification processes, and it enhances your overall fertility journey because lymph movement is key. So the body has this incredible built-in waste removal system. That's the lymphatic system, which acts like a dumper truck for your body's waste. And when it's functioning properly, our body is better able to eliminate what it no longer needs. When the body has chronic inflammation, it's also creating more waste. Think about those cells earlier on. This chronic inflammation is leading to cells that need sweeping away, so there's more waste. And then that means that your lymph needs to work harder to eliminate it all. So when our lymph gets stuck, which it does when that dumper truck is overloaded, the toxic waste has nowhere to go. And this backup also steals from our fertility bandwidth, as it uses energy that could be supporting our fertility. So meet Sonia. Sonia faced challenges with conceiving. She had constant pelvic pain, heavy periods, constant chronic stress. And it also led to a knock-on effect of her facing control issues, that she could control everything in her life except this. And that is uncomfortable to say the least. We revealed she had PCOS and endometriosis, even though her symptoms didn't initially present this way. Mystery solved. And now she had a path to follow. So rather than kind of doing all this random stuff, trying to fix her diet, eating healthier, she was now able to move forward on a structured path. So despite all her efforts, and I mean all, because she was literally throwing everything at it, she was eating healthier in exclamation marks, is it healthy or is it for fertility? She was doing yoga, she joined the gym, she was doing acupuncture, meditation, swimming. She has reflexology. She stopped coffee and alcohol. She refrained from going out with her friends, which gave her more time. So she filled this time with helping a homeless charity. She literally threw everything at it. But she didn't do what her body needed, because infertility is a personal situation. I mean, think about it. Is there anything more personal than what is going on inside your reproductive system? And so this throw everything at it and something will stick approach didn't work, because the nature of doing this loaded more stress onto her poor cells. So her fertility bandwidth suffered because her cell batteries couldn't recharge. So she experienced failed IUIs, which came as a result of later fallopian tube removal with endo lesions. And when we started working together, she really did think that there wasn't anything else to try. But she had faith, and it didn't take us long. And after our work together, Sonia's journey took a positive turn because she was on that clear path. And so she was able to conceive and give birth to a healthy baby boy. And this now leads us nicely on to discovery number 3, optimizing your fertility bandwidth. And drug companies don't like me speaking about this, but you need to know there are some long-term, very real dangers for people who are on the wrong prescriptions. Look at me, my fertility was taken away from me without me even knowing what they were doing, all as a result of the medication they gave to me after the operation I had, and I had no clue. Now, I'm not saying that all prescriptions are bad or that you shouldn't ever take any, but you do need to be aware of the alternatives or complementary therapies that you can run alongside them so that you can make the right choice for you and no one else can make that decision for you. Now, in terms of the fertility bandwidth, we're removing the stagnation. We're getting that dumper truck moving again where it got stuck. And there's countless research out there that shows that people still don't feel any better even when they've been taking prescribed medication. And it's because traditional medicine very often doesn't work with that web that we looked at earlier on. It will treat one thing, not the interconnected nature of our bodies. So we can move something to one area where it then gets stuck in the traffic jam that hasn't been shifted. Chinese medicine talks about how our bodies have meridians or pathways that govern the flow of qi or energy. The meridian system can be used to explain how our bodies do everything. The most important thing about the energy is these meridians, they have to move. Stagnation or stuck energy is the biggest culprit causing pain and blocking healthy energy from being used. So sitting and stress, or sitting with stress even, could be one of the same thing, are two of the worst things for stagnation. Okay, so we looked at how movement is important for the lymph system, but movement also applies to this Chinese medicine meridian perspective. Emotional stress is another major culprit. It's another aspect where all that hormonal tracking that we spoke about earlier can cause more harm than good because the perpetual frustration of the hormonal heartache causes more stagnation and blocked energy. And you can see how you're stuck in this wheel of stagnation. Now that goes back to what we were saying right at the beginning about emotional and physical pain and how they interact and how they manifest together. The more we uncover, the more we find ourselves in a cycle that impacts us negatively as women. But here's the thing, relaxation is a skill that can genuinely be learned. It's essential to understand its critical importance to make a conscious effort to embrace it. Has anyone ever told you to just relax? It feels dismissive, right? You've achieved your success through your hard work and determination, not by just relaxing. And I completely understand because I've been in high pressure environments, traveling internationally for business. The stress can even become a bit addictive. Yet, we need to reconnect with the natural rhythms and healing mechanisms our bodies possess. This journey isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about rediscovering the inherent wisdom within you and allowing your body to work in harmony with your goals. So let's just explore how we can create space for this balance together. While our bodies do have a built-in relaxation system, we can't just tell ourselves to relax and have it happen. It's not as automatic as that anymore, I'm afraid. So here's a curveball that I bet you weren't expecting. Pay attention to your feet. And I know it sounds funny, I do, but it's true, okay? So through the feet, we are able to access your entire body via reflexology. The feet are known as a microsystem where every organ and body part has a corresponding part of the foot. So by stimulating the right pressure point, as you would perhaps with acupuncture where you're puncturing the skin with a needle, we can move stuck energy and create a sense of flow and ease in the body. And this is when the invisible becomes visible. And I understand talking about energy might seem a bit out there, and I get it. I have been in your shoes. But when life pushes us into a corner, we start exploring alternatives and listening to new possibilities. So just think about a time when you didn't feel well and someone noticed it on your face. You thought that your pain or your discomfort, you thought it was just internal, but it's visible to others. And it's like electricity, we can't see it, but we know it's there and powering everything. Our internal energies are much the same. They might be invisible, but once we access them and remove the stagnation, those positive feelings start to shine through and become evident in all areas of our lives. And by tapping into this energy, we can switch on our natural fertility and transform our journey to motherhood. Meet Nicole. So, Nicole struggled with excruciating periods. She had heavy bleeding, bloating, back pain. She spent weeks unable to even leave the house. She deteriorated so badly when she first met me that it was a family friend who brought her to see me, and he was paying for her. Such was the worry that was surrounding her general health. Now, her case is slightly different because she wasn't actually trying to get pregnant at that point. In fact, it was on her mind for future, but it was the last thing as an imminent need that she needed on her mind because she was just feeling so bad. You know, with these excruciating periods, the back pain, the days when she couldn't leave the house, she was losing her hair, she had brittle nails, and she was flat out pure exhausted, which meant that she was also running her own business, and so she couldn't earn in the same way that she would wanted to. And, you know, like many of us, she had tried the pill in her younger years, but even though she wasn't actively trying for a family at this point, that's where her mind was for the future. She knew somewhere in her gut that this wasn't going to be a long-term solution for her. And with the state of her, you know, it was barely that anyway, to be honest, at that point. So by embracing our fertility bandwidth approach, Nicole then was able to switch on her natural fertility without even trying because her body got better, her body healed. She had all of this energy that had been running, trying to fight all of this stuff that was wrong with her. And then she was absolutely thrilled not only to be able to leave the house and work more, but she was also able to conceive her first baby. So today, even with a child, she's waking up, she's full of energy, and she's active with her business while she's looking after her family. Well, you think before she didn't even have a family and she couldn't do all that stuff. And so as a consequence, she's more financially stable than she has ever been, even when the financial strain in theory, because she's got a family now, should be more. And wouldn't that be your dream? You're here because you're committed to switching on your natural fertility switch and creating your amazing family. And if you're anything like me, you put a high value on your time. You've probably enjoyed success in other areas of your life by putting a high value on things that get you results. You know now that the real problem is energy-starved cells that deplete your fertility bandwidth. We've also seen that the standard approach to infertility struggles, they don't work. The best way to repair this is to relax, to restore, and to revive. The 3 steps, because it's proven to give women just like you the results that they want. You can do this. We can do it together. Just imagine the empowerment and relief of taking control of your family, of your fertility, of your life. How amazing will it feel when you no longer struggle with feeling like a failure or a victim of your body? Imagine how amazing it will feel when you finally found a way to switch on your natural fertility. How would that transformation impact your fertility journey? How would you feel every month? Would you feel like it's a lost cause, that you're not getting anywhere? Or would you be excited? And would you feel the stress around getting pregnant that you feel now? And if you'd like me to help you make this transformation, I'd be absolutely delighted. I really would. Because there is one thing that I know for sure. Doing this alone isn't easy. In fact, it's a surefire way for things to get worse. You've probably realised that by now. You could try, but you'll probably waste a lot of time, money, and needless frustration. It would be like trying to drive across a country without a GPS or any signs on the road telling you where to go. And here's why. It's cost me $100,000, £100,000 and 15 years of advanced schooling to create a solution that actually works. Do you want to spend that money and time becoming an expert in fertility? I don't think so. That's my job, not yours, right? You just want to end result to create your family. That's why you're here. And we both know that you can only get so far on your own. After all, I don't know any top level athletes who've got there on their own, Who's going to show you the way? Who's going to keep you accountable? Let's be honest, you're here because you know that the prescriptions can be problematic and trying random supplements just don't cut it. And who has the time to keep seeing doctors who don't understand the real problem? So just doing more of that sound like a smart plan? I hope not. I've shared what I can with you here to show you a better way that has worked for me and for my patients. But the reality is that everyone is unique and your situation could be different from someone else's. And unless you're the expert identifying those nuances, it's going to be really tough to improve the situation all by yourself. So here's what successful people do, because over my years of working with people, I've discovered something. There are certain things that successful people do and certain things that they don't do. So successful people are here now. And in several months from now, we'll be at the future that you create. First, we all start by getting clear on what it is that we want and why it's important to us. But those who struggle in life ask one question that takes them down the wrong path. And that question is how? How can I do this on my own? And because they don't know how, they continue to struggle. After all, if they did know how, they'd already have what they want. But they don't. And so I call this red line the struggle line. Now, here's what successful people like us do. We get clear, same way, on what we want and why it's important to us. But instead of asking how, we ask a different question. We ask who. Who can help me get there faster? Who's been there and done this a million times? Who can guide me so that I'm not wasting my money and my time and that I can actually get the results that I'm after? And that's the green line. And I call that the success line. What's interesting is that down the road, these two curves are very far apart, near impossible to jump from the red back up to the green. But right now, you can see on the left, those lines are literally touching. This is the moment where you have the chance to set your destiny by making a simple decision to get on that green line. And guess what? You're actually already on the green line by choosing to watch this masterclass. Wouldn't make sense to get off the success path and struggle, would it? You're already moving in the right direction. So of course, let's stay on the green line and I can actually help you succeed once and for all. You're just a phone call away from making it happen. I learned this the hard way. I think it's part of the thing that keeps me always looking for new answers. I love to learn. So why on earth would I pay someone else to do the work around the house when I can do it myself? I booked myself on a plastering course. It'll save me some money, I thought. I do have a pic of it somewhere, but I couldn't find it. So that's perhaps telling, okay? Because when I came to plaster my bathroom, it did not go well, but I persevered and eventually I got it finished. Then when we got to putting on the tiles, they wouldn't lay flat. And because the wall wasn't that even, I had to put more adhesive on in some places than others. The tiles started slipping. It was an absolute mess. In the end, after hours of frustration, I mean hours and hours, like days of hours, frustration, I had to admit defeat and get the professional in to fix it. After all these hours, I'd ended up making the problem worse because I had to remove all of the hard work and the hours of toil before the professional could do their bit. And then, adding insult to injury, it took that guy maybe 2 hours to do the work. It took me days to do, days and training to do. And it cost me more money to get things fixed because I had to replace these tiles that I'd put on and that had slipped, needed taking off. Ugh. Anyway, I learned that there is a difference between me trying to do something I know nothing about and letting someone help me who has done it hundreds of thousands of times before. Sure, I spent some money, but I know now that I wasted countless hours of wasted energy and the whole thing cost me more. So that's just a little anecdote about me. But here is how I can help you. People who successfully turn back on their fertility switch don't waste time figuring it out themselves. They do not plaster the walls themselves. They look for someone who can help them get there as fast and as easily as possible. So here's how I can help you. I've set aside some time to speak with you personally, absolutely free, so that I can better assess where you're at. And then we can have a look about how you can get to applying these strategies right away and start getting better results. So during this fertility assessment, we're going to do 3 things. First, we'll get clear on the number one reason that you're still struggling to conceive and to stay pregnant, because obviously that is the ultimate outcome. And a lot of times it's something that my client's completely unaware of until we have a look under the hood to see what's really going on. As I often say, the biggest danger you face is the blind spot that you can't see. So the first thing we'll do is bring this blind spot to light so we know what we're dealing with, okay? We'll have a look at what you've tried, what's been getting in the way to guide you what needs to be done for your specific situation. Most of the time, people aren't clear about this, and it's part of my role to help you see these. And then finally, we'll create a plan to help you reach a healthier life and start focusing on your family. Because once we're clear on where you're at, where you want to go, and what's been holding you back from getting there, then we can create this game plan. And if you'd like to get there faster without frustration and heartache, then we can talk about what it's like for us to work together. Just like Natalie, Sonia, and Nicole. Remember those clients we met earlier? It all started for each of them with this simple call. So if you're ready to put an end to crying every month and feeling disconnected from your friends and family who pretty much have what you want, and all the other pain, mental and physical, that's associated with infertility, some of the stuff that we can see, some of the stuff that we can't, and if you're ready to do it all without playing whack-a-mole with your symptoms, if you're 100% committed to actually getting closer to switching on your natural fertility and entering the next phase of your life as a mother, and a lot faster and safer, then this is for you. Now, here's why I'm offering this call for free. It's because I love speaking to women who are taking charge of their fertility and putting themselves in a position to turn around their fertility situations. And although I normally charge hundreds of dollars for an hour of my time, and I have a waiting list of patients, I know a large proportion of people I do this consult with will want my help beyond our initial meeting. And if that's you, awesome. If not, well, and we mutually decide it's not going to make sense, then that's okay as well. But before we go any further, you need to know that I can't help everyone. And the last thing I want to do is to waste your time if you are not the type of person who will see results. This is not for you if you're looking for someone to just fix you, stand back and let someone fix you. And if you don't believe in holistic approaches, if you're unable or unwilling to invest in your health. Based on the thousands of people that I've worked with, I know there are certain types of people who will get results and those who won't. As much as I'd love to help everyone, I simply can't because my time's limited, as is yours. And I want to make sure that I'm speaking with women who are seeking improving their fertility once and for all. If you're living on disability, no disposable income, then this isn't for you. This is for you, however, if you are absolutely driven to finding a solution, you're open-minded and willing to try something new, and you are someone who is fully committed to taking control of switching back on your blocked fertility. In this case, it's an absolute must for you now, and I don't see any reason why you couldn't see the results, just like Natalie, Sonia, and Nicole did. I really don't. So if you meet these criteria, then this is for you. Now, just to be clear, okay, my goal is not to pressure you or sell you anything that isn't right for you. My goal is to act as your health fiduciary to help you do what is best for your situation. So here's what to do next. Schedule a call with me by simply clicking that link. There you'll be able to select a slot within the next 48 hours. Once your time has been selected, you'll see a form with a few questions I'd like you to answer so that I have a better idea of where you are and where you want to go. That way our call together is as productive as possible. So if you want to uncover what's really been keeping you from switching on your natural fertility, see if us working together is going to be right for you and your fertility bandwidth, and if that's going to make the most sense for you to get even faster results, then we'll meet and you can help me uncover what's really been blocking your fertility switch. You'll get a customized plan to get your fertility back on track, and then we can see if working together will make sense to help you get results even faster. Because I've only got so much time each week, this is on a first come, first served basis. Once those spots fill up, they're gone. So if you're serious about turning your fertility switch on and you meet my ideal client criteria, click the button below whilst it's still there, because you have two choices. You can stay on the green line and you can book in your free consult so that we can get you to your promised land that much faster. or you can go back to doing what you were doing before and stay stuck. Because remember, when you imagined your future earlier, with your first scan, your baby in arms, and then the toddler chaos, close your eyes now and imagine what happens if you don't do any of that, if you stay on the red line. And so in 6 months, a year, or 3 years from now, nothing has changed. Those are your two choices, but only one of them will move you forward. It'll move you closer to putting you on the path to motherhood and creating your family. The very reason that you signed up to watch this masterclass in the first place. So take advantage of the opportunity now. Let's finish what you've already started so I can help you create your family faster without all that unnecessary pain and frustration. Simply click the link below and let's do this together.